Dear students, today's our topic is Gandhi's concept of Sarvodaya. M.K. Gandhi, a great constructive thinker of the 20th century, wanted to establish a new thought before the modern Indian society by introducing reforms. He was interested in the reformation of society. Before his own eyes, he saw many social evils in the Indian society and tried to establish a society free from all forms of exploitation through peace, happiness, and real prosperity on the earth. Today's topic to propose to discuss Gandhi's concept of welfare of all, named as Sarvodaya. Sarvodaya means welfare of all. Sabka Uday. Gandhi was not only a devoted worker, he tried to understand the nature of man, society, civilization, religion, and tried very hard throughout his life to put into practice the ideals which he deemed to be highest. His attempt was to make a fruitful combination of theory and practice. For him, an integrated community could be built only through the integration of its individuals. Louis Fisher holds that Gandhi was primarily a social reformer, maybe a social revolutionist, as he once called himself. Before discussion of Gandhi as a social reconstructor, it is necessary to point out the main views of some sociologists on social reconstruction. Auguste Comte, 1798 to 1857, wanted that state should play positive role in the development of new industrial society guided only by social scientists and was opposed to the form of government which should govern. He believed that the metaphysical and critical spirit of the scientific age had destroyed the traditional universal religious beliefs. It was impossible to reconstruct them in their older form, but it was essential to recreate a system of beliefs which was to serve as the basis of new order. Herbert Spencer accepted the role of voluntary organization because he believed that democracy was a rule of majority over the minority. The government should make least interference in public affairs except maintaining law and order and protection from foreign invasion. According to Karl Marx, due to change in the modes of production, the people will be divided into two classes. There will be struggle between the haves and the have-nots, leading to dictatorship of the proletariat for some time, and then ultimately a classes society will be formed with no function for a government to perform. Max Weber supported the idea of parliamentary type of government instead of a dictatorship and placed the glory of nation and power of the state above all else. Neither he believed in the general will, good of all, nor in the rights of people to self-determination, nor in the democratic ideology. He wanted parliamentarization of German government and recruit better leaders. Gandhi's concept of Sarvodaya. Gandhi's philosophy and ideas are deep rooted in the Sarvodaya Samaj or society, which will established by bringing about changes in the concept of property and mutual relationship of man with man by peaceful means and free from exploitation. Sarvodaya philosophy lays stress on village uplift and also on village economy. The word Sarvodaya was used in the Jain scripture by the Jain saint Samantabhadra for the first time hundred of years before Gandhi, yet the word Sarvodaya when used by Gandhi was completely his own. In praising the spiritual leader of the Jains, he wrote, सर्वपदम अनेक अंतकरम निरंतरम सर्वोदयम तीर्थामिदम Tavira. In other words, yours are the sacred waters of the well-being of the all ends of miseries of all times. When Gandhi used the term Sarvodaya, he was clear in his mind about the meaning of term. Hence, as he has written in his autobiography in connection with his translation of Ruskin's Unto This Last, I translated it later into Gujarati, entitling it Sarvodaya, the welfare of all. Ruskin's work challenged the classical political economy and extracted the tremendous influence on Gandhi. Since all men are brothers and no human being should be a stronger to another, Gandhi aimed at the welfare of all. His concept of socialism is an extension and application of the economic aspect of Sarvodaya philosophy. In his concept of socialism, all the members of the society are equal. It will provide equal opportunity for the prince and the peasant, the wealthy and the poor, the employer and the employee, the strong and the weak, and all are treated on the same level. Gandhi's concept of Sarvodaya is distinguished from the superior to the utilitarian doctrine which aims at the greatest good or happiness of the greatest number, and the Marxian socialism which aims at the welfare of proletariat class only. The real dignified human doctrine for Gandhi is the greatest good for all. The Isopanists had a distinct and defined influence of Gandhi. Once Gandhi observed, if all the Upanishads and all the other scriptures happened all of a sudden to be reduced to essays, if only the first verse in the Isopanishad were left intact, the memory of the Hinduism would live forever. The mantra like this, all this that we see in the great universe is perverted by God. Renounce and enjoy it, do not cover anybody's wealth or possession. Gandhi's his concept of socialism from the Upanishadic verse, the seeming contradiction between the two ideas, renounce it and enjoy it, is very nicely reconciled into the Gandhian concept of socialism. The answer to question why should one renounce and enjoy these worldly things at the same time is that they are God's possession. They are no one's possession, so one should renounce the worldly things for the common welfare in the society and enjoy them at the same time in the common. Again, the valuable idea of clause covet not anybody's possession is an antidote to the present materialistic and selfish society. This is the source of Gandhi's economic doctrine of trusteeship and non-possession. Gandhi said, "It seems to me satisfy the cravings of the socialist and the communist, of the philosopher and the economist. I venture to suggest to all who do not belong to the Hindu faith that it satisfies their cravings also." This meaning that the abolition of private property envisaged by the socialists and the communists can be achieved if the idea convinced in this verse of translated into action. Thus, welfare of all forms the core of the Gandhian concept of Sarvodaya. Literally speaking, Sarvodaya is derived from two Sanskrit words, Sarva meaning all and Uday meaning awakening or development. Thus, Sarvodaya as such means literally the awakening, upliftment or emancipation of all, the universal dawn. As Vinoba Bhave has interpreted it by the term Sarvodaya is meaning arising of all but not the arising of some and decline of other. The concept of welfare of all creatures is contained in the term. As Dada Dharmadhikari has interpreted the Gandhian concept of Sarvodaya, it cannot simultaneously blossoming of the life of all individuals. Life itself signifies growth, awakening and upliftment. Simulation growth of all is the very essence of Sarvodaya. The philosophy initiated by Gandhi was seriously studied by Jay Prakash Narayan, who came out of the influence of European socialists. According to him, a Sarvodaya society, mutual relationship between man and man will be appreciated, equality and brotherhood will be appreciated. There will be no desire for exploitation. The individual will be asked to live a simple life. This society will be based on cottage industries and the production will be according to needs and requirements of the people. Sarvodaya implies the greatest good of all as against the greatest good of all greatest number. It stands for a society which would strive for good and all such which everybody would be happy. In such a society, there would be no distinction of high and low. Gandhi on social reforms. Gandhi started the task of reformation from the individual. According to him, due to performance of duties by all individuals, there will be peace in society. Marx laid stress only on reformation of the economic foundation of society, but he entirely forgot that without the reformation of individuals, the reformation of society is unthinkable. Gandhi realized this defeat of Marxian thought and started social reformation from the individual. He was trying to remove various social and economic obstacles which stood in the way of their progress. The social goal of Gandhi was the establishment of all kinds of exploitation-free society. He was a great fighter for social reforms, but he believed that social reforms would become effective only when the individual reforms himself. Gandhi was influenced by the Tolstoy and Thoreau, who gave importance of individual and his capability of changing society. His idea about the concept of good society is the formed his ideas mostly on the basis of condition prevalent in his own country. Gandhi's attempt to formulate an ideal typical social order in which violence, exploitation, discrimination and oppression would have no place, which can be summed up on one word: Sarvodaya. Gandhi's aim of Sarvodaya is not to establish a new pattern of state. It aims at the establishment of a society where there will be no oppression of one class by another class. Gandhi had definite approach to problems which faced India of his time. He wanted the structure of the Samaj to be built upon moral principle, humanitarianism and equality. Gandhi says that Indian society had completely degenerated itself and there were many social evils like child marriage and untouchability, poverty and low morals of peoples, with ever increasing corruption in our social structure. In these circumstances, as a karma yogi and a practical politician, Gandhi tried to pinpoint our social evils and reform our society. He gave importance to social problems rather than to political ones. Gandhi's Sarvodaya is a many-sided program of welfare of all. It means all-round development of all people, irrespective of class, creed, religion or caste. Gandhi's Sarvodaya is a many-sided program which envisages reconstructing the village through his programs such as prohibition, removal of untouchability, emancipation of women, communal harmony, khadi and village industries, cow protection, harmony between capital and labor, widow remarriage, child marriage, remove basic education and welfare of student, Panchayati Raj for the upliftment and welfare of community as a whole. Gandhi's views on untouchability. The removal of untouchability becomes one of the most important missions of Gandhi and his life. He was against untouchability. At the age of 12, he came into understood that the concept of untouchability was against the real spirit of Hindu religion and was a sin. During his stay in South Africa, he found distinction on the basis of color. After through study of the Hindu scriptures, he came to conclusion regarding certain people as untouchables was not only against reason but also against the real spirit of Hindu religion. He considered it as something against the instinct of mercy, pity and love. He fought successfully to remove this dark plot of untouchability for Hinduism. The system was an evil and against spirit of our society, the symbol of our degeneration. It is a partial superstition of Hindu people which created cracks in our society and weakened it. The untouchables whom Gandhi named Harijan may be purified souls, but they are always treated contemptuously by the tradition Hindus. Gandhi elevated the position of the untouchables by calling them Harijan, men of God. All human beings are alike under the same sky, so they must not be treated as untouchables from their birth. He says that all human beings are the creature of God and so all are equal. No one can be treated on the earth as an untouchable. It is sin to treat some people as inferior to ourselves in order to claim our superiority. There is no high and low among the people, Gandhi put it. There is no warrant for untouchability by the birth in Hinduism. In order to remove this great barrier, the Hindu must first purify their own souls. Gandhi invites every Hindu to obliterate this prejudice through love or ahimsa. For it is only through such obliteration the proper justice can be done to Hindus, as Hinduism teaches us to regard the whole of humanity as one individual and undivided family and holds each one of us responsible for the misdeeds of all. This custom of untouchability was immoral, barbarous and cruel, which had crept into Hindu society could be eradicated when people made consolidation and concurrent efforts against it. He said, I believe that if touchability is really rooted out, it will not only purge Hindus of a terrible both, but its repercussion which will be worldwide. My fight against untouchability is a fight against the impure of humanity. At the same line, he considered it great duty of every Hindu to eradicate it. He said, the Hindu religion is replete illustration and great men lifting their unfortunate brethren from their miseries. Will not the modern Hindus copy their own great men and one for all rub out of the bolt of untouchability that so defiles the Hinduism? In his opinion, social reformers should take bold steps to end this evil because God cannot be partial to any class or caste. Therefore, the untouchables should be allowed to enter the temples and worship there. Highly placed people should adopt sons and daughters of the untouchables as their own children. Similarly, interclass and intercaste marriages should be encouraged. Gandhi's view on caste, Varna and communal unity. Gandhi's views on caste system was as much critical as his view on untouchability. According to Gandhi, there was clear distinction between caste system and Varna and that both were opposed to each other. Since caste system was based on the birth, it had no moral justification to claim the support of society. It was an excretion of handicap on progress. It prompted inequality and assumption of superiority of one man over the other was a sin against man and God. According to Gandhi, caste system was perverted and degenerated form of one dharma which preserved energies and was essential for perfection and growth of our society. In caste system there are restrictions, whereas in one dharma there can be no restriction and people of different one can intermarry each other, which is not permissible under the caste system. Where under the caste system such marriages were considered a social offense, but in one system there was no such offense. In ancient India, for the well maintenance of society, labor was distributed into four classes or one. But in later days, many subcastes grew up with innumerable prejudices and civil motives which created barriers among their classes. Gandhi finds himself unable to tolerate these evils and clarifies the meaning of the one system of ancient India in order to reform the caste evils. There are also conflicts between the Hindus and the Muslims. Gandhi strove till the end of his life for the upliftment of human society for their narrow prejudices. He says, "My serve is not only for you or India, it extends to the world, for I know barriers of race or creed."